Lee Junho turned off the computer, put on his jacket, and left the bank last as always. For 8 years, he had been leaving last. Not because he was a workaholic. He just wasn't in a hurry to get home. At home was an empty apartment, a fridge with one yogurt, and the neighbor's cat that sometimes scratched at the door. The street greeted him with cold and the smell of fried food from the restaurant across the way. He stopped. Thought about going in, eating something decent. Then looked at his watch. 23:32. Decided no, too late, home. The alley by Uljiro subway station was dark and familiar. 8 years of this alley. 8 years of 100 meters of shortcut, 3 minutes saved, which he spent standing at the entrance not being in a hurry to go in. 2 figures appeared from behind the trash cans. Junho stopped. Looked. Assessed quickly, automatically, the way people assess situations who for 8 years had worked with other people's money and learned to calculate risks. Knives. 2 of them. The alley had no cameras, he knew, had checked once out of curiosity. Late, no passers-by. Wallet, said the first one. Young, nervous, holding the knife wrong. Not habit, impulse. Phone, quick. Junho took out his wallet. Slowly, no sudden movements. He had read once that sudden movements provoke. Held it out. Phone, repeated the second one. Phone, watch. His mother had given it to him for his 30th birthday. Simple, not expensive, but his mother. That's everything, said Junho, voice steady. There's nothing else. The first one took the wallet, looked inside. The second stared at him for a long time, with an expression Junho didn't like. You saw our faces, said the second one. So that's how it is, thought Lee Junho. So that's how it is. He didn't have time to step back or cover himself. The strike was fast. The knife went into his side, below the ribs. Sharp pain, then cold spreading from the center. He fell. The asphalt, hard, cold, smelling of rain and exhaust fumes. He looked up. The sky above the alley, a narrow strip, orange from the city lights. Not a single star. 31 years, he thought. 8 years at one window. Empty apartment. The neighbor's cat. Should have taken a different route. The darkness came not sharply. Gradually, like when you fall asleep and know you're falling asleep, but can't do anything about it anymore. Then a voice. Inside his head, not from outside. Cold and emotionless like a bank system's answering machine. Host, Lee Junho. 31 years old. Death recorded. Cause, penetrating wound. Compensation protocol, activated. Rebirth with preserved consciousness confirmed. Form of rebirth, determined by the nearest creature at the point of destination. Scanning. Result. Silver racer, species Serpentis primordial. Stage, egg. Until hatching, 47 hours. Warning. This species in the world of avarice is classified as highly dangerous. Evolutionary potential index, transcendent. Not recorded in any creature in the system database. Recommendation of local inhabitants. Destroy upon detection. Rebirth initiated. Lee Junho wanted to say something about that. The darkness didn't let him. The darkness turned out not to be empty. Tight. Soft. Outside the shell, something warm, resembling moss or grass. The body small, curled, with scales that felt like 1,000 separate plates. Breathing through the skin, not the lungs. A strange sensation, as if the entire body was slightly pulsating. He didn't panic. 8 years as a bank teller. Good training for situations that cannot be controlled. A client yelling at the window, system crashed. Audit suddenly, reaction is 1. Breathe steadily. Assess what's there, act by priorities. Priority 1. Understand where I am and what I am. The body responded to requests strangely, not mental commands, more like intentions. He wanted to feel the space around him and the body responded. A forked tongue, small, flicked out, touched the shell. Smell, earth, grass, moisture, something resembling pine. Cold outside, warmth inside the egg. Forest. Ground. Spring or summer. Damp, not freezing. I'm in an egg. In a forest. Good. There is information. Moving on. The system appeared at the second hour. as if it had been waiting for him to adapt. Serpentis Evolution System. Host. Name not assigned. Species. Silver Racer, Serpentis Primordial. Rank, E lower. Size, 18 centimeters projected after hatching. Experience points. 0 out of 500 to first evolution. Base skills. Thermal localization. Thermal perception within a radius of 10 meters. Accuracy. Average. Requires stillness for maximum effectiveness. Primary. Venom. Neurotoxin. Weak paralysis of small creatures. Scaled. Skin. Physical resistance low. Survival instinct. Upon lethal threat, reflex acceleration of reactions for 3 seconds. System rules. EP are awarded for destroying creatures. Creature significantly weaker than host. Times 0.1. Creature equal to host. Times 1. Creature stronger. Times 2 to times 10, depending on the gap. Sentient creature. Base times 5 additionally. System warning. Species Serpentis entered in the register of dangerous creatures of the world of Avarice 340 years ago after the Silver Serpent War. Official status. Destroy upon detection. No exceptions in legislation. Host's evolutionary potential index, transcendent. Juno read slowly. Reread. Transcendent potential. Unknown system. That was supposed to sound encouraging. The main character, special, unique. He had read enough manhwa during breaks to understand the narrative. But the line destroy upon detection outweighed it. So, he thought methodically, everyone will try to kill me on sight. I have 18 centimeters of body and venom that paralyzes mice. Evolutionary potential is transcendent but unclear. 500 experience points needed for the first evolution. Standard situation of a beginning teller. Resources minimal, task maximal, clients hostile. Let's work. He couldn't hatch ahead of time. The body wouldn't allow it. Biology is stronger than intentions. He lay in the egg and thought. Thought about Korea, Seoul, bank, 8 years, route through the alley. Thought about his mother who called every Sunday and whom he told everything is fine because he didn't know what else to say. Thought about the neighbor's cat, orange, insolent, who only came when it wanted to eat. Then stopped thinking about the past. It had stayed there. Here is something different. He thought about the present. Serpentis primordial. Forbidden species. Evolutionary potential unknown to the system. The Silver Serpent War 340 years ago. That means this world has history connected to my species. History that people remember and fear enough to kill without questions. Important information. Need to study it. But first, survive. At the 38th hour, something passed outside. Heavy, slow. Through thermal localization, he sensed a large thermal object, about 3 meters long, with temperature above normal. The creature stopped next to the egg. Zane, he already thought of himself as Zane. The name came on its own. Didn't move. Didn't breathe deeply. Waited. The creature stood there. Sniffed, apparently. And left. It sensed the egg, decided not to touch it, or got scared of the smell. Maybe Serpentis primordial smells a certain way. First lesson. Smell works. 47th hour. The shell cracked on its own. The body knew when. First crack at the head, then along, then he pushed and everything split open. The world struck all at once. Light. Green. Diffused. Forest-like. But after the darkness of the egg, like a flash. Smell sharp, multi-layered. Earth, moss, bark. Something dead 5 meters away. Something alive behind a tree. The cold of the air on the scales. Each plate separately, like 1,000 small temperature sensors. He lay in the grass and didn't move. Adaptation, he thought. First adaptation, then action. 18 centimeters of body. Silver-white scales with a dark pattern along the spine. Thin, resembling engraving. Tail unexpectedly functional, strong. Head small with vertical golden pupils. He tried thermolocalization. Actively, consciously. The world split into layers. The grass bluish, cold. The tree nearby slightly warmer. The dead creature 5 meters away, cooling, an orange spot fading to gray, and 3 meters to the right a small hot object. White in thermal vision, a mouse under the leaves, not moving. He crawled slowly. The body knew how, instinct guided. He didn't interfere with instinct, only observed. This is how the head is set. This is how the tail moves. This is how the tongue reads the air. The smell of the mouse. Fear, already there. It had sensed him. The mouse twitched. Too late. He was faster than expected. Bite precise, at the base of the neck. Venom entered. 3 seconds. The mouse went still. System, destroyed. Forest mouse. Rank, F, EP +2. Multiplier, ×1. Total EP, 2 out of 500. 2 points out of 500, thought Zane. 498 remaining. He looked at the mouse, then ate it. Without pleasure and without disgust. Just biology. The body demanded it. Welcome to your new life, Lee Junho. Zane was methodical. That remained from his past life. 8 years in banking taught. Information first, then action. Before hunting seriously, he spent 3 days studying the territory. The forest was large. He circled it in a spiral, ever wider. Through thermolocalization, he noted. Large thermal objects. Go around. Medium ones. Assess. Small ones. Pray. He built a map in his head. A bank employee knew how to keep data structures clearly. Where is the water source? A stream to the east. Where is the danger? A large predator's den at the southern edge. Where small creatures hunt. At the western edge, where the grass is taller. On the 4th day, the first serious problem. A fox. Not an ordinary one. With a bluish aura, he noticed through thermolocalization. A magical beast, small, fast, with fire affinity. D rank. It sensed him first. Zane only managed to curl up. The fox lunged, missed by a centimeter. He bolted under the roots of the nearest tree, a narrow gap. The fox couldn't fit through. It scratched from outside, then left. Analysis, he thought in the gap between the roots. It found me by smell. Thermolocalization doesn't give information about the magical auras of creatures. Need to learn to distinguish them. He spent 2 hours in the gap, listening, waiting, then crawled out. The fox was gone. Second lesson, magical beasts have a different smell. Sharper, remember, he didn't rush toward dangerous targets. This went against the logic of the system, which gave more points for stronger opponents. But he understood that dead things don't need points. First, methodically, small targets, building skills. Mice. Easy, fast, little e, p, birds. Harder, need ambush. He learned to wait, hiding in foliage, not moving for hours. A primordial serpentis in silver scales against a backdrop of dark foliage was nearly invisible without movement. Good skill, he noted. Stillness is a form of invisibility. That too was from his past life. The ability to go unnoticed. The teller at the window whom clients don't remember. The employee management doesn't notice. 8 years. Not an achievement, but a skill. It will be more useful here than at the bank. On the 6th day, the first creature with ether threads. A small forest spirit, semi-transparent, fist-sized, drifting between the trees. Through thermolocalization, he saw it as a thermal object with non-standard structure. Not hot and not cold, pulsating. System. Detected. Forest spirit, lesser. Rank, E+. EP base 15 has ether threads. Special feature, creatures with ether threads. Release residual ether energy upon destruction. Absorption through bite. Effect, temporary enhancement. Zane hunted the spirit for 40 minutes. Not because it was fast, because Zane wanted to understand its movement pattern first. Like a hunter observing prey before striking. When he understood, he struck. Fast, from stillness. The spirit dissolved, and something warm and strange flowed through the bite inward. System, EP +15. Multiplier, ×1.5. Total, 47 out of 500. Received, ether impulse temporary. Duration, 6 hours. Effect, reaction speed +15%. 47 points, he noted. Better than mice. Spirits, priority. On the 9th day, he saw the first person. A hunter with a bow, experienced, moving quietly. He entered the forest from the southern edge, setting traps for animals. Zane watched from a distance of 20 meters in stillness, in the shadow of roots. The hunter didn't notice him. Then, an hour later, a second person appeared. Different. This one Zane noticed immediately. The aura was different. Dense, structured, pulsating blue through thermal localization. A mage, he realized. The mage was young, a teenager, about 15. He was walking toward the hunter, carrying something in his hands. A bag. "Father," the teacher said, "I have a good awakening," the teenager was saying. "The threads are already holding a 3rd-level spell." "Don't boast before your time," said the hunter. "The academy takes mages from 15. You still have a year. But I'm ready." The teacher says, "The teacher won't feed the family if you overtax the threads and burn them," the hunter cut him off. "Have you heard about the village of Aron? A boy overloaded the threads at 13. He still can't hold a 3rd-level spell. All the channels are narrowed." The teenager went quiet. "Carefully," said the hunter. "Magic is good. But threads aren't iron. They tear if overloaded." They left. Zane lay there and thought. Threads tear from overload. Mages are rare, 1 in 1,000. The academy takes from 15. So the magic system is slow, cautious, requires years of training. My system is fast, evolutionary, different approaches. On the 12th day, Zane consciously attacked a D-rank target for the first time. A forest fox, not the one that nearly caught him. A different one, without magic, just large. The size of a small dog. He prepared for 2 days. He studied its route. It walked the same paths morning and evening. He chose a point, a narrow passage between 2 roots where it slowed down. He prepared a position in the foliage above, a root as a platform for a leap. In the morning it came. The leap was precise. Bite to the neck, maximum venom. The fox twitched. The venom didn't act instantly. It was larger than mice. Zane held on, didn't release his fangs, pressed deeper. The venom kept entering. It tried to shake him off. Rolled over, he ended up underneath it. A second of pain from the body weight. Hold. 30 seconds. The fox went limp. System: destroyed, forest fox. Rank: D lower. EP base 30. Multiplier times 2. Total plus 60. EP cumulative. 142 out of 500. Good, thought Zane, lying on his side next to the fox. It hurt where it had crushed him. 142. A third of the way, and I nearly died from a fox. Realistic. Hunters came back. Not those 2. Others, 4 of them, with dogs. Zane sensed them through thermal localization. Large thermal objects, fast. Dogs with ether threads, hunting ones. They know how to find magical creatures. He hid in a tree hollow, didn't move, didn't activate primary venom so as not to give off a smell. 3 hours. The dogs passed 2 meters away. One stopped, sniffed the air, looked at the hollow. Zane didn't breathe. The hunter whistled. The dog left. Afterward, he thought for a long time. Dogs consent. That means they'll find me soon. Need to change territory or become less noticeable. Every limitation is a task. Every task has a solution. Someday, 38th day, he had killed 47 mice, 16 birds, 8 lower-rank forest spirits, 4 foxes, the last one with a magical aura, and 1 forest wolf cub of C rank that had wandered into the wrong territory. The wolf cub was the hardest. Zane hunted it for 4 days, studied it, waited. When it got stuck in a ravine after rain, he attacked. Even stuck, the wolf cub nearly killed him. A paw swept across his body, scraped off several scales. The pain was sharp. But the venom did its work. EP plus 180. Multiplier times 6. Cumulative. 503 out of 500. The system appeared that same night. First evolution. Host has reached the threshold value. Available paths. Path 1. Killer. Physical enhancement. Speed. Times 3. Reflexes. Significant increase. Size? ×2. New skill, lethal. Venom, neurotoxin enhanced. Lethal to creatures up to D rank. New skill, swift lunge. Acceleration from stillness is instant. Distance up to 3 meters. Path 2. Mind, cognitive enhancement. Intellect, plus 50%. Memory, photographic. Information processing, ×3. New skill, mnemonic. Venom. Bite erases memory of the last 10 to 30 minutes in creatures below B rank. New skill, aura reading. Passive determination of the ether thread level of any creature within a radius of 20 meters. Path 3. Shadow, stealth, and adaptation. Scales. Adaptive. Changes color and reflection to match any background. Thermal trace, reduced by 70%. New skill, ether, silence. Dark threads, suppressed for 45 seconds. New skill, scent mask. Control of own chemical trace. Animals cannot scent at a distance greater than 1 meter. Note: paths do not fully exclude each other. With certain evolutions, partial combination is possible. Zane read for a long time. Path of the Killer. Speed and venom. Straightforward. Path of the Mind. Intellect. Aura reading is useful, but a narrow path. Path of Shadow. Stealth. Ether silence. Scent mask. Adaptive scales. He remembered the hunters with dogs. 3 hours in the hollow. He remembered the system warning, destroy upon detection. In a world where everyone wants to kill you, being invisible is more important than being fast. Third path, he said. The sound came out as a hiss. But the decision was clear. Transformation, 5 hours. He found a quiet place under some roots, curled up, waited. The pain was strange, not sharp, deep, as if the body was being remade at the cellular level. The scales were changing structure. He felt each plate. New receptors were forming. Dawn found him different. Against a backdrop of earth and leaves, the scales nearly disappeared. He looked at his own body and could barely see it. Visible in motion. In stillness, almost not. Scent mask. He tried it. Activated deliberately. His own smell disappeared completely, as if he were part of the air. System. First evolution complete. Rank updated. E+. Shadow path activated. New parameter. Humanization. Index 0%. Path to humanoid form. Serpentis. Primordial to Serpentis. Shadow to Serpentis. Humanoid to Serpentis. Archon to form unknown. For the first humanization step, a special evolution is required, available after 3000 EP. He lay in the dawn forest, nearly invisible, without scent, with quiet threads. A ghost, thought Lee Junho. Good. Ghosts live longer. The difference was immediate. Adaptive scales plus stillness. He became part of the space. Not completely invisible, but enough that a creature would pass a meter away without noticing. He tested it on the hunter. That same one, with the mage son. He came again. The hunter passed 1.5 meters away. Didn't stop. Didn't look. It works. With the scent mask, the dogs no longer found him. He tested it carefully. Approached the edge of the territory where they hunted with dogs. Hid. Observed. The dogs went past. One stopped nearby. Sniffed the air in confusion, spun around. Didn't find anything. Good. Hunting sped up. He could approach prey closer, wait less. D-rank beasts became accessible regular targets. But the real EP growth came through magical creatures. Forest spirits he had studied. They moved along set routes near water sources, became active at night. Hunting them was easier with ether silence. Spirits sensed the dark threads and avoided Serpentis. But with the threads suppressed, he was just an ordinary animal to them. In the second month, 18 spirits of varying levels. The strongest, a tree spirit, C rank, gave 120 EP with the multiplier. Zane didn't only hunt, he observed. Hunters came to the forest regularly. He had studied 3 of them, knew their routes, habits, conversations they held, not thinking anyone could hear them. From the conversations, information about the world. Kingdom of Avarice. Capital, Veldar. Guild system: adventurers, merchants, mages. Adventurers hunt monsters for rank tokens. Mages in academies: rare, respected. Monsters classified from E to S. There is a rank outside classification: ancients. Serpentis officially rank B+ at full development, but in the dangerous register listed as potentially S. That explained the destroy reaction. He listened to conversations and stored them in memory. Veldar, the capital. Adventurers Guild. Rank system. If I want to live among people, I need a rank, a name, a history. Not a truthful history, a plausible one. For that, a humanoid form is needed. For a humanoid form, 3,000 EP and a special evolution branch. Let's work. The hunter and his son again. Zane lay 2 meters away. Adaptive scales, scent mask. Listening. Father, in the village they're saying a Serpentis was spotted to the north, the son was saying. Small, silver. Guild hunters are coming to look. Far? The forest near Carven. 3 days from here. 3 days, Zane noted. That means what they spotted wasn't me. Or they spotted me and determined the direction inaccurately. Are Serpentis dangerous? The son asked. I read that they can speak. Speak? The hunter chuckled. That's in the older forms. Young ones are just snakes. Dangerous snakes with venom that standard potions don't cure. A pause. But the point isn't the venom. Then what is it? The potential, said the hunter. His voice grew more serious. Serpentis evolve. Fast and unpredictably. 100 years ago, they thought they'd found a young one, small. Didn't kill it, decided to observe. Within a year, the Serpentis had destroyed 3 villages. Really? It's recorded in the guild archives. The hunter picked up a trap, checked it. That's why there's one order. You find it, kill it immediately. Don't mind that it's small. Don't wait for it to grow. The son nodded. Understood. And one more thing, the hunter added. Serpentis are smart. Smarter than ordinary beasts. The older forms are very smart, so never think you can outsmart one. Smarter than ordinary beasts, thought Zane. That's putting it mildly. They left. He lay in the grass, thinking. Guild hunters are coming to look. 3 days to the forest near Carven. If they come straight to this forest, they'll arrive in a week or 2. Time to change territory, and time to accumulate EP faster. 70th day. Zane relocated, left the first forest heading north toward the mountains. New territory, different creatures, harder and stronger. C rank is the norm, several B rank near the mountain caves. He hunted smarter. Didn't attack B rank creatures directly. He studied them. Found weak points. A B rank mountain bear with an earth magic aura was slow in narrow corridors. Zane spent 2 days digging tunnels under the bear's path. Then drove it to the right spot and struck from above, into the unprotected area behind the ear. EP plus 320. Multiplier times 8. On the 70th day, 3000 EP exactly. Second evolution. Special direction unlocked. Humanization. Options. Ordinary path 1. Shadow enhancement. Ether. Silence times 2 in duration. Scent mask permanent. No activation required. New skill. Shadow glide. Movement at speed times 4 while camouflage is active. Ordinary path 2. Shadow venom. Venom updated. Neurotoxin plus dark threads. Acts on the victim's ether. Threads. Temporarily destroys magical channels. Mages lose access to spells for 1 to 3 hours. Special path. Serpentis. Humanoid. First stage. Humanoid form unlocked. Transformation bidirectional, 90 seconds. Torso, arms, human. Facial features almost human. Scales remain on the neck, shoulders along the ribs. Eyes controllable, round pupil at will, vertical under stress or in combat mode. Vocal apparatus fully functional. Humanization index, 22%. New skill, dual being. In both forms, all skills from previous evolutions are retained. Limitation. Humanoid form is unstable under strong emotions. Risk of partial exposure of scales, pupils. Zane didn't hesitate. Special path, voice, Hands, a human face, time to enter the world. Transformation. 8 hours, the longest of all. He found a deep mountain cave, climbed inside. The pain was different, not merely physical. Something in the very structure of the being was changing. The dark threads were restructuring, realigning. Dawn. Then day. Then dawn again. He stood up. Movement on the tail, the lower body serpentine but compact, fast. The upper body human. He raised his hands. 5 fingers, slender, with sharp nails. He clenched each one. Every joint moved precisely. His face. He found a mountain lake, looked into the water. Young. Sharp features, not entirely human. Hair dark, almost black, with silver strands. Skin very pale, like porcelain. Scales visible on the neck, on the temples in certain light. Eyes golden. The pupil, he tried, became round. It worked. Now human eyes. Almost. Hello, he said to his reflection. Voice low, clean. A slight hissing undertone on S and Z. Concealable, if speaking carefully. Unnoticeable in ordinary conversation. System. Second evolution complete. Rank, D+. Humanization index, 22%. Note. Humanoid form is unstable under adrenaline surge. Pupils may involuntarily shift to vertical mode. Control it. Host name, Zane, recorded. Zane looked at his reflection. Zane, thought Lee Junho. 31 years old. Bank teller. Died from a knife in an alley. Now a half-serpent in fantasy mountains with a voice and hands. Standard career ladder. 2 days to the nearest settlement. Zane walked carefully. Clothing taken from an abandoned hunting camp. Simple, a little oversized, concealing the scales on the neck and the collar, the tail under a wide cloak. Movement on the tail worked. From the outside, it looked like ordinary walking, just a bit fluid. He practiced speech, talked to himself for hours, removed the hissing through slow articulation, trained facial expressions. Human expressions weren't instinctive, he had to think. Smile. Corners of the mouth upward. Not too wide, teeth visible. And his teeth were sharper than normal. On the second day, a village appeared beyond the forest. Small, about 25 houses with a palisade by a river. Smoke over chimneys, the smell of fresh bread from the downwind side. Sound. A forge, children, livestock. He stopped at the edge of the forest. Any mages? Through aura reading, none. Not a single dense aura. Hunters with magical dogs? Scent mask active. They won't smell him. Activate ether. Silence just in case upon entry. Risk, face, eyes, movement. Goal. Information about roads, about the capital, about the Adventurers Guild. He entered. The gates were open. Open during the day, always, small village, no fear. One guard, elderly, dozing on a chair. He raised his eyes at Zane, nodded. Zane nodded back. Passed through. The street dirty, narrow, stone-paved in places. Several women at a well, a man with a cart. They looked at Zane, a stranger noticeable, but without panic. Ordinary village curiosity. He found the tavern, the only drinking establishment, with an inn attached. Inside, 3 people and the owner behind the counter. Dim, smelling of food and wood. Traveler, said the owner. Not a question, a statement. Yes, said Zane. Carefully, softly, without hissing. What do you need? Information, said Zane. And food, if possible. He raised a coin. Copper. Found in the cloak pocket at the hunter's camp. This covers both. The owner looked at the coin. Nodded. Sit down. Zane sat by the far wall, back to the corner, facing the door. A habit that had appeared on its own during the months in the forest. The owner brought stew, thick, with meat. Zane looked at it. The stomach in humanoid form worked differently. He could eat human food, but his preferences remained. Doesn't matter. Eat. It looks normal. He ate slowly, observed. The other 3 visitors, Two were clearly locals, talking about crops. The third, a road merchant with a cart visible through the window. Merchants know roads. Zane waited until the merchant finished his mug, then moved closer. "From Veldar?" asked Zane. He nodded at the cart. The merchant looked at him, an appraising gaze, accustomed to strangers on the roads. "From Cairn," he said. "Still 3 days to Veldar." "By which road?" "The northern tract," said the merchant. "The southern is faster, but monsters have been active there this past month. Everyone goes around." "What kind of monsters?" The merchant looked more closely. "Are you an adventurer?" "Not yet," said Zane. "Want to become one?" "I'm thinking about it." The merchant chuckled. "Young." He looked at Zane's hands. "I don't see a weapon. They won't take you in the guild without a weapon, not even at starting rank." "I work differently," said Zane. "A mage?" "No. Then how?" Zane thought for a second. "With my hands," he said simply. The merchant laughed. Not unkindly, more with understanding. "Plenty like that come to the guild. Young, confident, no weapon and bare hands. Half come back with broken bones." "And the other half?" "The other half don't come back," said the merchant. Without irony, just a fact. Zane nodded. "Thank you for the information." "The northern tract," the merchant repeated. 3 days. At the second turn after the main river. Don't go into the forest, that's mountain spirit territory. Marked with posts with a red sign. The merchant stood up, tossed a coin to the owner, left. Zane finished the stew. Northern tract, 3 days. Veldar, time to go. He stood up, pulled his hood forward, a habitual, protective gesture, and walked toward the exit. And in the doorway ran into a boy, about 9 years old. He had run around the corner without looking, crashed into Zane. Zane instinctively caught him with his hand so he wouldn't fall. The boy looked up. The hood shifted a little. Golden eyes. The pupil. He managed to switch it to round, but not instantly. A fraction of a second. Vertical. The boy froze. "Sorry," said Zane evenly. He let the boy go. "Watch where you're running." The boy looked at him, then at his eyes, then at his hands, where at the touch the sleeve had shifted and a strip of scales was visible on the wrist. "You're," the boy began. "Mama," someone said from behind. Zane turned. A woman in the doorway, just standing there, looking, at the hand with scales, at the eyes. The pause lasted a second. "Leave," he told himself. He walked out calmly, without hurrying. A calm pace, not a run. Running is a sign of guilt. Panic attracts attention. He walked down the street, turned a corner. One more turn. The gates. The guard was dozing, didn't lift his head. Zane passed through the gates, walked toward the forest. 30 seconds, he thought. She had 30 seconds to raise an alarm. 30 seconds passed. The village behind him remained quiet. Then 20 meters to the forest. 10. "Hey!" He didn't stop. He sped up, didn't run, quickened his pace. "Stop! A monster! It's a serpentis!" The woman saw after all, he thought. Already in the forest. Or the boy told her. Voices from behind, many of them. Torches. It was already getting dark. Dogs. He activated scent mask immediately. Then ether silence. Then found a narrow ravine, lay down, activated adaptive scales. Went still. The crowd passed 20 meters away with torches, with pitchforks and axes, shouting. The dog spun around, finding nothing. It went into the forest. "Search. Don't go in deep, it's already dark. We'll call the hunters tomorrow." The voices receded, then silence. Zane lay in the darkness of the ravine and looked up at the sky through the foliage. Silver stars. Here they were different. Larger, colder, summery. Went in, got information about the road, almost got killed. The negatives outweigh the positives. Conclusion: don't stop in small villages. Too few people, too much attention on a stranger. A small community notices an anomaly instantly. A big city is different. Veldar is the capital, thousands of people, adventurers from different places, different appearances. A stranger is the norm. There it will be possible. But first, never show the eyes without control again. Never let anyone see the scales, not once. He lay there another hour after the village went quiet. Then stood up, walked north toward the tract. 3 days to Veldar. Enough time to work everything out from scratch. The northern tract was wide, well-worn with signposts. Trading carts, lone travelers, once a squad of guards with a kingdom banner. Zane walked in his hood, in his cloak, hands in his sleeves, observing. The first thing he studied was how people walk. Not because he walked incorrectly. Movement on the tail in humanoid form looked normal. But there was a slight, strange rhythm, too fluid, without the strike of heels against the ground. He watched the other travelers, copied, added a light, striking element to his step. Better. The second thing, gestures. People gestured constantly. He almost never did. A serpent's body had no habit of gestures, and the humanoid form had inherited this. Hands that were too still were noticeable. Add neutral gestures. Not many, just enough. The third thing, his gaze. He looked too directly. Serpents fix their gaze on a target. That's a hunting instinct. People moved their gaze constantly, let it slide, looked away. A direct, unblinking stare was unsettling. Blink more often. Don't hold eye contact too long. By the evening of the first day, he had worked out the basics. He stopped at a fork in the road. There was a small rest stop there. Several travelers were burning a campfire. He approached, asked permission to sit nearby. They allowed it. He sat, said nothing, listened. Conversations ordinary, road talk. Prices in Veldar. The Adventurers Guild opened a new contract season. Monsters in the south had grown active, they say, because of a change in the ether background in that area. A young mage from the academy died on an assignment. The guild opened a new contract season, Zane noted. That means a lot of new adventurers are registering right now. Good time not to stand out. One of the travelers, a man with a sword, clearly an adventurer, looked at Zane. First time in Veldar? Yes, said Zane. Adventurer? I want to register. The man nodded. Specialization? No weapon. Hand-to-hand fighter. The man assessed him. A professional's gaze. Build. He squinted. Zane understood that his build was non-standard. Too lean for a hand-to-hand fighter without visible muscles. Speed, not strength, said Zane. Ah, a quick one, the man nodded. Not many of those in the guild. Registration is on the first floor of the guild, north entrance. Say you have no weapon specialization. They'll send you to the assessor. He'll determine rank based on a test result. What kind of test? A fight with a control opponent. A magic dummy or a live fighter depending on the declared level. Don't overestimate yourself at registration. If you declare C rank and show D, they'll put you in the register as unreliable. That's bad for contracts. Understood, said Zane. Thank you. The man nodded and returned to his mug. Useful information, Zane noted. People are talkative by a campfire. Remember that. On the second day, rain. The tract turned to mud. Travelers quickened their pace. Zane walked in the rain. Scales didn't let water through, but the cloak was soaked. Uncomfortable, but bearable. At the bridge over the main river, a jam. A cart had lost a wheel, blocking the entrance to the bridge. The owner was cursing. Passers-by were watching. Several adventurers were helping to lift it. Zane stopped. Help or go around. Going around is rational. Less contact, less risk. But he watched as one of the adventurers pulling the cart was straining. Clearly not enough people. The bridge was blocked. A queue was building up behind it. A bank teller always helped colleagues with the queue. Something surfaced from somewhere. He approached. May I? The adventurer, large, red-faced from the effort, looked at him with doubt. You think you can even pull this? Zane grabbed the side of the cart. Strength in humanoid form was different from what it appeared. Serpentis used muscles differently, more efficiently. He pulled. The cart moved at once, sharply. The adventurer let go of the side in surprise. Looked at Zane. Whoa! Together they lifted it, set it in place. The cart owner thanked them, offered a coin. Zane declined, moved on. The adventurer caught up with him at the exit from the bridge. "You're heading to Veldar?" "Yes." "Me too." He stepped alongside, extended a hand. "Barak." "D-rank swordsman." "Zane," said Zane. He shook the hand, briefly. "No rank yet." "To the guild?" "Yes." "Great," said Barak. "No unnecessary questions. Road company, simple logic. Faster to travel in too. I know where the good inns for adventurers are in Veldar. Not expensive." Zane thought for a second. "Risk. More time nearby means more chances that something gets noticed. Benefit? Information, knowledge of the city. Looks less like a solitary stranger in the capital." "All right," said Zane. They walked together. Barak turned out to be talkative. Told him about the guild, about Veldar, about the contract rating system. Zane listened, asked short questions, received detailed answers. The ideal source of information, he thought. Talks a lot, doesn't ask unnecessary questions. "The new season opened 3 days ago," Barak was saying. "A lot of people are registering. Right now the guild is busy. That's good. When it's busy, nobody really pays attention to who you are and where you're from." "Confirmation of my conclusion," Zane noted. "The rank system goes from F to S," Barak continued. "F and E are beginners, minor contracts. D is the first serious rank. You can take group assignments. C and above are the elite. B and S are named. They're known across the whole kingdom." "Many B ranks in Veldar?" 3 permanent ones," said Barak. "One is the guild commander, the second guards the prince, the third is a free agent, only takes major contracts. S rank, only one in the whole kingdom. They say he hasn't appeared for several years." "And mages? In the guild?" "Not many. Mages usually go to the academy or into service with the nobility. Only those who didn't fit become adventurers. By the evening of the second day, they stopped at a small inn by the tract. Barak took a room. Zane did too. In his room, Zane sat by the window looking at the road, thinking. Barak is good. Simple, no hidden intentions, or a steady, warm, no tension. But carefully. Too close is dangerous. He looked at his hands. Round pupils. He was holding them already automatically. Scales on the wrists hidden by the sleeves. Tomorrow, the capital. A new part begins. He saw the capital from a hill, enormous by the standards of this world. White walls with blue stone inlays. Several large towers, administrative buildings or the academy. A port on the river, ships, flags. Thousands of people. Now this is different, thought Zane. At the gates, guards. They checked travelers not strictly, quickly. Name, said the guard. Zane, he said. Surname? None. Where from? The north. A small village not in the register. The guard wrote it down. Extended a token, wooden with the letter V, an entry pass. Return it when leaving or renew it in 3 days. He entered Veldar. The Adventurers Guild in Veldar occupied 3 floors of a large building in the central quarter. First floor, noisy, like a market. Tables with contracts on boards. Adventurers of every kind. Weapons, armor, magical artifacts. Behind the counter, several administrators. Zane joined the queue, his turn. The administrator, a young woman, businesslike, with a quill over paper, looked at him. Name, Zane. Specialization, no weapon. Speed and close combat. Magic? No, said Zane. Technically true. His ether threads were dark, non-standard. A mage? No. Declared starting rank? E, said Zane. Below actual. Test with the assessor. Third door on the right. The assessor. A middle-aged man with the tired look of someone who had seen hundreds of adventurers. E rank declared. No weapon. He looked at Zane. Dummy or live fighter? What do you recommend? E rank. Dummy is standard. Dummy, said Zane. The assessor led him into a room behind the office. Small, with mats on the floor, with a wooden dummy in the center. The dummy was strange. Not just wood. Through aura reading, Zane could see weak ether threads in it. A magic dummy. Responds to strike force and speed. Records the result. 30 seconds. Maximum of what you can do. Zane removed his cloak. Underneath a simple shirt, sleeves covering the wrists, he looked at the dummy. Show enough for E rank, no more. The assessor gave the signal. Zane moved quickly, but not at full speed. A series. 8 strikes in 3 seconds. The dummy recorded it. The magic indicator at the top lit up. Too fast, he understood from the assessor's expression. That was E rank, said the assessor slowly. Per your declaration. Yes, in 3 seconds. The assessor looked at the indicator. The dummy recorded the strike speed as D lower minimum. I'll put D lower. Without weapon specialization, you'll pass the hand-to-hand class test. All right, one more time. Full minute. Show your speed, don't hold back. The assessor can see I was holding back, Zane understood. A professional. Has seen many. If I underperform again, he'll list me as unreliable. Balance. He repeated at 70% of actual. A longer series of strikes, a feint, grabbing the dummy, imitating a throw. D standard, said the assessor. Hand-to-hand class confirmed. Specialization, speed, and grappling. He held out a token. Metal, small, with the letter D and the guild mark. First contract you take from the board on the first floor. D rank. Solo or group assignments up to C rank monsters inclusive. Zane took the token. The first object in this world that belonged to him. D rank, thought Lee Junho, in the body of a serpentis in the capital of a fantasy kingdom with a metal token in his hand. Not bad for a start. Barrack hadn't lied. He knew good places. The Blue Horseshoe, an inn a block from the guild. Inexpensive, clean, owner with no unnecessary questions. Most guests were adventurers, coming and going, nobody watching anyone. Zane rented a room for a week. Room small, with a bed, a table, a window facing the courtyard. He sat on the bed. First time in 2 months under a roof. Strange feeling. In the forest it was more familiar. Open. Here. Walls. City sounds. Unfamiliar. Not like the forest where every sound carries information about a threat or prey. I'll get used to it. He activated aura reading, passively, quietly. Felt out the building. 23 people within a radius of 20 meters. Aura's different. Most weak, standard. 2 with slightly denser threads. 1 interesting one. Aura pulsating, non-standard. A mage or something unusual, he noted. Not a threat for now. He closed his eyes. Tomorrow, the first contract. Start small. Study how the system works. Don't rush. You worked in a bank for 8 years. You know how to build a career methodically. Same thing here. Just instead of credit files, monsters. In the morning. The contract board. Zane studied it methodically. D rank opened up several dozen options. Clearing dens of small monsters, guarding trading caravans, finding and destroying a specific creature, collecting magical ingredients in dangerous zones. The last one, interesting. Collecting ingredients requires knowledge of the forest and the ability to avoid monsters, not kill them. My specialization. He took the contract, collection of shadow mushroom roots in the forest east of Veldar. 3 days. Average pay. Monster rank of the zone E plus D. Easy, he assessed. Normal for a start. Received the assignment from the administrator, went out. At the exit from the guild, he ran into Barrack. Zane, he waved. Registered? Yes. D rank. Barrack raised an eyebrow. D straight away. Beginners usually start at E. The assessor put D. He looked at Zane with interest. I said you weren't a simple brawler. A pause. What contract did you take? Ingredient collection. Eastern Forest. Solo? Yes, safe. But boring for D rank. Barrack scratched the back of his head. Listen, I'm taking a contract for den clearing in the same direction. If you want, let's go together. You collect your stuff, I clear the dens, the path is shared. Risk. A long joint trip, more time together, more chances of noticing something. Benefit. Safety, information, observation of how adventurers work on a real assignment. All right, said Zane. The eastern forest was different from the mountains. Not his territory, unfamiliar. Zane walked and studied it through thermolocalization and aura reading simultaneously. Barrick walked alongside, talking. Shadow mushroom grows at the roots of old trees, he explained. Look for trees with dark bark. Protruding roots, usually there. A pause. Where are you from anyway, Zane? The north? I remember that. More specifically? A small place, said Zane. I left on my own. Family? No. Barrick looked at him with the understanding that people have when they drop a topic, because they've guessed it shouldn't be continued. A lot of adventurers are like that, he said. They come without a past, build a new one. Yes, said Zane. Exactly. They split up at the fork. Barrick toward the dens, Zane deeper into the forest toward the old trees. Alone, he relaxed. Released some of the self-control that required effort. Not completely, but a little. Shadow mushroom roots. Old trees. Dark bark. Aura reading. He saw magical objects as pulsating points. The mushrooms gave a weak dark signal. He found the first cluster in 8 minutes. He collected carefully, only the roots, without damaging the base. He had spent 2 months in the forest and knew how to handle plants. He had heard a hunter's conversation about it once. A proper collector takes a third, leaves the rest to grow. Good practice, he noted. Rational. Monsters in this forest, E+D. He met 2 and went around them. A third noticed him and followed. A small forest hound with a magical aura. Zane activated scent mask. The hound stopped, spun around, lost the trail. In 2 hours, the assignment was done. When he returned to Barrick, the man was still working. Stuck in the den, the monster had turned out to be larger than expected. Need help? Asked Zane. If it's not too much trouble. No trouble. Zane went in, used speed and grappling. The monster went down in 20 seconds. Barrick watched. 20 seconds, he said. The den is narrow, convenient. I spent 15 minutes on it. Narrow space is an advantage for a speedster, said Zane. Barrick looked at him with the interest Zane was already beginning to recognize. The interest of a professional towards something non-standard. You're not D rank, said Barrick quietly. The assessor put D. The assessor put what you showed, said Barrick. And you didn't show everything. Zane looked at him. Reasonable caution, he said. Yes, Barrick agreed. Without pressure, reasonable. A pause. Do you have reasons not to show your real level? I do. All right, said Barrick, and didn't ask further. Smart, noted Zane. Understood that there was no need to press. I respect that. They walked back to Veldar. Zane worked methodically. Every day. A contract. Not the hardest, not the easiest. He chose assignments where he could both accumulate EP and build reputation in the guild. The first 2 weeks? Solo. He studied the city, studied the guild, learned to interact with people. Every evening he returned to the Blue Horseshoe, sat in the corner of the dining hall, ate and observed. Adventurers talked. He listened. City news, rumors, information about the guild, about ranks, about the strong and weak players. Guild commander, Dana Ross. A woman of about 40, B-rank swordswoman, strict, fair. Doesn't like when people hide their real level but understands why. The 3 strongest D ranks in Veldar, the Firth brothers, and a girl named Leah. All well-known, all have a group. Mages in the guild, 2. One unpleasant, the second old and calm. After 2 weeks, his name started to be remembered. Not because of loud victories, because of the speed of contract completion. An assignment that usually took 3 days he closed in 1. Not because he was in a hurry. The forest was simply home to him. He moved through it differently than people did. The administrator once looked at his card and asked, Zane, that was you who closed the Eastern Den clearing contract yesterday? Yes. Solo. Yes. That's usually taken by a group. A pause. Your D rank. The den was shallow, said Zane. The monster was C lower. Normal for a D with good positioning. The administrator looked at him for a second, then wrote something down. Another week later, his name started being spoken in the guild. On the 20th day, Barrick caught him after returning from a contract. Zane, can we talk? Yes. They sat in the corner of the tavern at the guild. Barrack took a mug. Zane took water. Alcohol had no effect on him, but he ordered it for appearances. "I've been watching you for 3 weeks," said Barrack directly. "You're growing fast. Too fast for a D rank who registered recently." A pause. "This isn't an accusation, just a fact." "I work hard," said Zane. "You're more than working hard." Barrack looked at him. "Listen, I have a small group. Me and 2 others, not permanent, situational. We take C-rank contracts. Sometimes it's hard without a 4th. A pause. "If you move up to D+ or C lower in the next month, which is likely given your pace, someone like you would be useful to us," Zane thought. "A group. Permanent people nearby. Higher risk. More time together. More chances of noticing something. But a group means C-rank contracts. That means higher EP. That means reputation faster." "We'll see," said Zane. "More specifically," said Barrack. "In a month, I'll say more specifically." "All right," Barrack agreed. He didn't push. That was his good quality. On the 35th day in Veldar, the system. EP 3,800/4,000 to the 3rd evolution. 200 more. He took a difficult solo contract. A rare B-lower monster spotted near the southern gate. D-rank adventurers were not recommended but could formally take it with a risk warning. He took it. Found the monster, large with dense dark threads. B-lower, a real threat. The fight took half an hour. Not direct, through ambush and poisoning. Zane spat venom into the ventilation gaps of the den. Waited, repeated. The monster came out weakened, then he attacked. EP plus 260, multiplier times 7, total 4,060. That night, evolution. 3rd evolution. Shadow path, continued. Option 1, Serpentis. Phantom, enhancement of all stealth skills. Ether, silence duration times 3. Adaptive scales, complete invisibility and stillness. New skill, Shadow Step. Instant movement up to 5 meters through a shadow area. Option 2, Serpentis. Hunter, combat enhancement. Speed times 2. Venom updated. Axe on ether threads, temporarily destroys magical channels. New skill, lethal lunge. Attack with acceleration, impossible to block without B-rank defense. Option 3, Serpentis. Humanoid. 2nd stage, humanization continues. Tail fully retracted. Scales only on wrists and neck, barely noticeable. Appearance almost fully human without special lighting. Humanization index, 45%. New skill, ether imitation. Dark threads can temporarily imitate standard ether threads. Mages will not distinguish from an ordinary person for 2 minutes. 45% humanization. Tail fully retracted. Scales almost invisible. Ether imitation. Mages won't see the difference. This is a step toward living among people without constant fear. 3rd, said Zane, transformation. 10 hours. He told the owner he wasn't feeling well, locked himself in his room. Dawn. Different. He stood at the mirror, almost human. If you don't know, you might not see it. Scales. Barely noticeable silver streaks on the wrists. In ordinary lighting, they resemble scars or a tattoo ornament. On the neck, a thin strip at the collarbone, hidden by the collar. Tail fully retracted. Legs complete, human, though the movement was different. He felt it. Too springy, too silent. Work on that. Add the ordinary sound of footsteps. Eyes golden, pupil round. Under stress, vertical, reflexively. Control it. He activated ether imitation, felt the dark threads restructure, grow quieter, become different. If a mage looked, they would see weak standard ether threads. Not a mage, just a person. 2 minutes, he noted. Then a 5-minute recharge. Enough for most casual checks. System. 3rd evolution complete. Rank updated, C lower. Humanization index, 45%. Note. Under strong stress, pain, or adrenaline surge, the humanoid form may partially destabilize. Pupils, scales on the arms. Control your emotional state. C rank. He looked at the D-rank token in his hand. Time to update. The assessor looked at him. Again? Yes, said Zane. The test this time. A live fighter. The assessor chose a D+ rank fighter with a sword. Experienced, with good technique. Zane showed approximately C lower. Not full speed. Enough. The assessor wrote it down. Extended a silver token with the letter C. It's rare for someone to go from D to C in a month, he said. Got lucky with the contracts, said Zane. The assessor looked at him with the same professional interest as the first time. Zane. No surname. He leafed through the card. 31 contracts in a month. All closed on time or ahead of schedule. 2 contracts above the recommended rank closed. A pause. The commander has already taken notice of you. Understood, said Zane. Don't be alarmed. She watches promising newcomers. That's her job. A pause. But I'd advise you, don't hide your real level too long. Dana Ross doesn't like surprises. Useful warning. I'll keep that in mind, said Zane. He left the assessor's office with a C-rank token. In the hall on the first floor, he saw Barrick. He was looking at the token. C-rank, said Barrick. In a month. Yes, Barrick looked for a long time. Do you remember our conversation? I do. You said in a month you'd say more specifically. Yes? Say it. Zane thought for a second. A group. Permanent people nearby. Risk. But faster growth. I'll take solo contracts for 2 more weeks, he said. Then I'll look at your group. If the compatibility is fine, yes. Barrick nodded. Fair enough. He had heard her name before. One of the 3 strongest D ranks in Veldar, now C rank. Leah. He saw her for the first time at the contract board. Small. A head shorter than Zane. Short dark hair, light armor, 2 short blades behind her back. She moved fast, not rushed, exactly fast, with that economical movement of a person who wastes nothing. She stood at the board and studied the contracts with concentration, with the look of someone who knows what they're looking for. Then she turned. Looked at Zane directly. You're Zane? Yes, I've heard about you. Not with interest, appraisingly. C rank in a month. No weapon. Yes? How? Speed and positioning. She looked at him. Then at the board. Then back at him. I'm taking a contract in the northern caves. C rank monsters, 3 zones. Boring alone. A pause. Not a question. An offer. Want to? Direct. No preamble. Terms? Asked Zane. Split the payment. Each works their own zone. We help when necessary. A pause. I need a second who won't get in the way but will help. All right, said Zane. Leah nodded. Businesslike. Took the contract, walked toward the exit. We leave in an hour, she said without turning around. First female adventurer as a partner, Zane noted. Not a partner yet. 1 joint contract. We'll see. They walked in silence for most of the way. 2 hours on foot to the north. Leah didn't speak without reason. Zane didn't either. They walked side by side in comfortable silence. Then she broke it. Where are you from? The north. More specifically? A small place. Family? No. Leah looked at him. You give short answers. The questions are short. She almost smiled. Fair. A pause. I like it when people don't talk more than necessary. Me too. Silence. Then she again. You move strangely. Zane tensed inwardly, not outwardly. How? Too silently, she said. As if you're not really touching the ground. A pause. Is that a skill or nature? Nature, thought Zane. A skill, he said. Trained for a long time. Where? In the forest. Alone. Long? Long enough? Leah looked straight ahead. You're secretive. Yes. Reasons? There are some. All right, she said. Same as Barrick. No pressure. I don't go where I'm not invited. Another smart person, Zane noted. Good. In the caves, they split up. 3 zones. Each takes 1. The middle one shared. Zane's first zone, Sea lower monsters. Large cave rats, not rats. Creatures the size of a large cat, with bony growths on their backs, with an earth magic aura. They moved through the tunnels fast, accustomed to narrow spaces. Zane assessed the situation in a minute. Narrow space. My advantage. Their advantage too. Speed in a tunnel is limited, but my speed is limited less. I'm thinner. He didn't wait for them to come out. He went in himself. The tunnel was dark, but thermal localization worked perfectly. 3 thermal objects ahead. He moved silently. Adaptive scales weren't active in humanoid form, but the silence had remained natural. The first rat sensed him. Turned around. Zane struck first. Grip on the bony growth on its back, a yank, a short blow to the base of the skull. The second leaped at him. He stepped aside. The tunnel gave only centimeters, it was enough. Counterstrike. The third ran deeper into the tunnel. No, he decided, don't let it get to the branching. He caught up. 3 seconds. Finished it. System. EP plus 45. EP cumulative. 4,270. He came out of the tunnel carefully, brushed the dust from his clothes. Leah was standing outside. She was looking at him. Fast, she said. The tunnel was convenient. You went inside, she said. Most people wait outside and lure them out. Luring takes longer, but it's safer. For me, inside is safer, said Zane. Leah looked at him for another second, with the expression of someone adding information to their model of another person. Show me the second zone, she said. Yours? No, I want to see how you work in open space. She's observing, Zane noted, studying. All right, the second zone was at the entrance to the deep caves. A large hall, high ceilings, several C-rank creatures. Cave salamanders with fire auras, slow but with magical attacks. Leah stood at the wall and watched. Hands folded. Not a fighting stance, just observation. Zane stepped out into the center of the hall. Open space is different. No narrow corners. Attacks can come from different directions. My speed compensates. The first salamander spat fire. He didn't just step aside, he moved forward, under the stream of fire, closed the distance instantly. A strike at the head. Salamanders had a hard, scaly head, a direct blow was useless. Under the head, to the neck. Grip. A turn. He used its own momentum. It hit the stone. The second was coming from behind. He didn't turn. Thermolocalization gave the position. A step forward and left. The salamander's attack glanced off. Counterattack. The third stopped. Looked at him. Salamanders weren't smart, but the survival instinct was working. It backed away. Zane didn't pursue it. It was retreating deeper into the cave, not toward the exit. Not a threat. He turned around. Leah was watching. Thermolocalization, she said. Not a question. Zane didn't answer. You sensed the second one when it was coming from behind, she continued. Didn't see it. Sensed it. A pause. That's not a standard adventurer's skill. Developed it in the forest, said Zane. You lived in the forest for a long time. Long enough. Leah looked at him. Not with suspicion, with that sharp interest that people have when they encounter something that doesn't fit their categories. You don't look like someone who grew up in a village and came to the guild, she said at last. What do I look like? Someone, she said, who lived for a long time not among people. A pause. That's not an accusation, just an observation. Smart, thought Zane. Too smart. You're right, he said. Steady, calm. I lived for a long time not among people. A pause. That's all I can say. Leah looked at him for a long time. All right, she said, and turned toward her zone. They walked back already in twilight. Leah made a small fire by the road, standard for adventurers who had stayed out until dark. They sat, ate from rations. The silence was comfortable, not the awkward silence of strangers. Something different. Familiar. Do you have a group? Asked Leah. No, Barrack offered. Firth? Yes, he mentioned he had 2 more. A good group, said Leah. Barrack is reliable. A pause. I usually work alone. Don't like depending on others. Me neither. Then why are you considering Barrack's offer? C-rank contracts are faster in a group, said Zane. Not dependence, efficiency, Leah thought. A subtle difference, an important subtlety. She looked at him from the side, in the firelight. Zane, she said. Yes? Do you ever look at people as people? She asked. Not as information or a resource. A direct question. Zane thought. A real pause, not one for show. I'm learning, he said at last. Learning to look at people? Yes. Leah looked at the fire. A strange answer. An honest one. Yes, she agreed. Honest. A pause. I like honest answers. Even strange ones. They were quiet a little longer. The fire crackled. Somewhere in the darkness, nightbirds. Zane, said Leah again. Yes. If Barrack puts a group together, I'd join too. A pause. Only if you're there. Zane looked at her. Why me specifically? Why? He asked. Because you're the only one in Veldar I don't need to explain anything to, she said simply. You're quiet when it's needed. You say what's relevant. You work without fuss. A pause. That's rare. She values silence, Zane understood. Because she's the same way. I'll tell Barrack, said Zane. Leah nodded. Looked at the fire again, her aura calm, steady, without excess heat. The first person whose aura doesn't change when near me, he noted. Interesting. He met her a week later. Guild, contract board, morning. He was studying the list as usual, methodically. And he sensed something first. A smell. Not an ordinary human one, something slightly different. Light, warm, with a feline aftertaste he recognized instantly through sensory tongue. He turned around. A girl. Short, with copper hair braided into a loose tail. Cat ears, reddish with white tips, stuck out from her hair. A tail behind her back. Thin, mobile, covered in short, soft fur of the same color. Eyes amber, with a vertical pupil. A cat girl, Zane identified. The feline cat people race, if the tavern conversations were to be believed. She stood at the board and looked at the contracts with that bewildered look of someone who has ended up in an unfamiliar place and hasn't yet gotten their bearings. The token on her belt, E rank, new, without scratches, just registered. She looked up and met his eyes. Zane looked away. Habitual movement. Don't look too long. Return to the contracts. Excuse me, someone said nearby. He turned. She was standing half a meter away, looking up at him. Cat ears slightly turned in his direction. Could you tell me, she said quietly, a little hesitantly, how to choose contracts here? They explained I need to take ones by rank, but I don't understand how to determine difficulty without experience. Came straight to me. Why me? Why me? Asked Zane. She blinked. You look like someone who knows what they're doing, she said. The others are busy. A pause. The ears drooped a little. A gesture of awkwardness, like a cat's. Sorry if I disturbed you. The logic is clear. Your rank is E, said Zane. Look for contracts marked EF. Those are the blue cards. See the left corner of the board. Oh, she looked. I see. A pause. And how to choose a specific one. There are a lot of them. What can you do? She thought. I run fast. Good instincts. She moved her tail a little self-consciously. Feline are usually good trackers. Then search and scouting. Green mark on the card. He pointed to the corner of the board. She looked, nodded. Thank you, she said. The ears went back up. The mood of cat girls read like a cat's. He understood immediately. She walked toward the left corner. Zane returned to his contracts. Done? Helped? Enough. He saw her again that same evening in the tavern at the guild. She was sitting alone with a plate, eating and looking at the table. The tail moving slowly from side to side. A thoughtful rhythm. Zane sat down at his usual table in the corner. 10 minutes later, she looked in his direction. Recognized him. The cat ears turned slightly. He nodded, minimally. She, hesitating for a second, stood up and came over. May I? She asked. Why? You may, he said. She sat down. Set her plate. My name is Kira, she said. Kira Tal. I'm from the province of Laysan. Zane, he said. Just Zane? Yes. All right. She ate neatly, feline neatness, without unnecessary movements. First day in Veldar, she said. The city is big, strange. First time in the capital? Yes. In Laysan, there's a small city. A pause. Have you been here long? A month. And already C rank, she looked at his token. Fast. Yes. How? Lots of contracts. She looked at him with that feline attentiveness when a creature is studying something unfamiliar and interesting. You're a little strange, she said. I've been told that. No, she clarified. Not in a bad way. Just different. The ears moved. A curious gesture. You don't smell like the other adventurers. Zane. Inwardly, instant attention. Outwardly, steady. How do I smell? Like, she thought, tilting her head. Forest. And something else. I can't determine it. A pause. Feelin have a good sense of smell, but sometimes something is unusual and I can't name it. Scent mask. He understood. It works on animals. Blocks the natural smell. But Feelin are a race with developed senses. The blocking is incomplete for them. She senses something unusual, doesn't identify it, but notices it. A risk. Forest, he said neutrally. I lived there for a long time. Ah, she accepted the answer. I see, the ears settled. I'm also good in the forest. I can read tracks. A pause. I took a contract for tomorrow. Reconnaissance in the western forest. Simple. E rank. Good for a start. Alone, she said. A little scary, honestly. The ears drooped. First contract on my own. The western forest is safe, said Zane. E and F rank monsters. With good instincts, you'll have time to get away from any threat. Have you been there? Yes. What's it like? He described it briefly, precisely. Where the dangerous zones were, where it was safe, where monsters usually moved. She listened attentively. Cat ears straight, turned toward him. Memorizing. Thank you, she said when he finished. That helped a lot. You're welcome. They finished eating in silence. Then she stood up. Zane, she said, can I ask sometimes if something about the guild is unclear? Permanent contact. Risk. But a solo E-rank feline in a big city is a vulnerability. If something happens on a contract and she doesn't come back, nobody will miss her quickly. That's her problem, not mine, he reminded himself. But she senses something unusual. If she's nearby regularly, either she'll figure it out, or I'll be able to control what she notices. You can, he said. She smiled, cat-like, not broadly, but warmly. The tail rose. Good night, Zane. Good night. She left. Zane looked at the empty table opposite. A feline with sharp senses who smells something unusual in my scent, he thought. Convenient or a problem? Still unclear. Observe. 3 days later, Barrack made the announcement. I talked to Laya, he told Zane after the morning contract. She's agreed if you agree. Do you agree? Yes. Good. Barrack rubbed his hands together with satisfaction. There are 4 of us. Me, you, Leah, and Rowan. You don't know him. A mage, sea lower. Unpleasant personality, but a good combat mage. Fire affinity. A mage in an adventurer group, said Zane. That's rare. Rowan didn't fit the academic system, said Barrack. He awakened late, difficult personality. The academy didn't take him. A pause. He's hard to work with, but effective. Understood. First joint contract the day after tomorrow. Fang Caves. B lower zone rating. C rank group is permitted with a danger warning. Barrack looked serious. Are you confident in your level? Yes. C lower against a B lower zone is on the edge. I work on the edge, said Zane. Barrack looked at him for a second, then nodded. All right. Day after tomorrow, dawn, at the eastern gate. The mage appeared first at the eastern gate. Zane assessed him immediately through aura reading. Ether thread aura dense, with a ragged edge. Late awakening, channels not perfectly formed. But the reservoir was large. Fire affinity, thermal trace stronger than usual. In appearance, tall, thin, with a displeased expression that, judging by the wrinkles, was permanent. Red hair, a cloak with magical markings. He looked at Zane appraisingly, without warmth. "Rowan," he said. Not friendly, neutral. "Zane. Heard about you. C rank in a month." A pause. "No weapon." "Yes." "That's idiotic," said Rowan, directly, without softening. "No weapon in a B-lower zone." "I manage," said Zane. "So far in C-rank zones." Rowan looked at him with the expression of a smart person who sees overconfidence. "We'll see." "Unpleasant," Zane confirmed Barrack's words, "but honest. Says what he thinks, that I respect." "We'll see," agreed Zane. Rowan snorted, not unkindly, more with the tone of a person who has said his piece and what happens next is not his concern. Leah and Barrack arrived. The group was assembled. A B-lower zone felt different. Zane felt it immediately through aura reading. The monsters here had dense dark threads, not E and D with thin auras, real B-lowers. Magical wolves with ice affinity. 3 of them, holding territory at the entrance. The group stopped. 3 ice wolves, said Leah. She sensed things differently too, through smell. B-lowers. There are 4 of us at C rank, said Barrack. We'll manage. Depends on tactics, said Rowan. He looked at the wolves with professional assessment. Ice affinity. My fire will partially neutralize their magic, but not physically. Physically, they're larger than us. I'll take the left one, said Leah. Speed and blades, vulnerable spot, under the shoulder blade. The right one is mine, said Barrack. Shield and sword, I'll hold. Everyone looked at Zane. The center one, he said. Rowan distracts with fire. I go in. You're taking a B-lower wolf alone? Asked Rowan. Yes. Idiotic, Rowan repeated, but not refusing, just stating. All right, I'll distract. The fight. Leah went left. Swift, low, under the trajectory of the ice breath. Barrack raised his shield. The right wolf attacked powerfully. Barrack held, slowly pushed back. Rowan, a wave of fire at the center wolf. Not for damage, for blinding and distraction. The wolf jumped sideways away from the fire, toward Zane. Here we go. Zane didn't step back, a step forward to meet it. The wolf didn't expect it. Most prey runs backward. He went under the leap, avoided the front paws, ended up to the side. Grip on the hind legs, a yank. The wolf lost its trajectory, landed awkwardly. A second. He was already at the nape. Pressure on the point at the base of the skull. Not a kill. Immobilization. A nerve cluster. Zane found it through the sensitivity of his fingers. The wolf whimpered. Couldn't move. Zane held. Ready, he called out. Rowan, a fast, precise fire strike. Barrack, he had dealt with the right one. Leah, her wolf was already down. Silence. 3 wolves. Rowan looked at Zane, at how he was holding an immobilized wolf with bare hands. Nerve cluster, said Zane. In B-lower wolves of this species, at the base of the skull. If you know the spot it works, how do you know that? Said Rowan. Slowly. I studied it, said Zane. Where is it written about the nerve clusters of B-rank wolves? Nowhere, said Zane. I found it myself. Silence. How? Said Rowan. Through the sensitivity of my hands. Rowan looked for a long time, then turned away. The idiotic thing worked, he said. The tone wasn't praise, but something in it had changed. Something small. A reassessment. Barrack looked at Zane with a wide smile. I told you, he said. To no one in particular. Just out loud. They went through the caves in a day, deeper than a typical C-rank group. Zane and Leah worked as a pair in the narrow corridors, synchronized, without words. A sign language already developed since their first joint contract. Rowan supported from a distance. Barrack held the center. A group, thought Zane at the end of the day. Not just efficiency, something else. He watched as Barrack bandaged a scratch he'd gotten from the wolf's claws, calmly, routinely. as Leah cleaned her blades neatly with professional respect for her weapons, as Rowan silently ate his ration, still with a displeased expression but slightly less sharp than in the morning. 4 people, different, working together, strange. The system, quietly, as it sometimes did without a notification, just as an inner voice. Observation. Host is spending time among sentient beings. Social bonds are forming. This is the first time since the period of existence in the world of avarice. Yes, Zane agreed internally. The first time. Evening. The tavern. He sat after the contract drinking water, thinking. Kira appeared, came into the tavern, saw him, came to the table. Ears down, tired. Hard? He asked. I got lost, she admitted. Without shame, just a fact. The reconnaissance was simple, but in the forest I found a trail and followed it longer than planned. Barely made it back before dark. Did you close the contract? Yes. She almost smiled. Scouted everything as needed. Just took longer. Good. Zane. She put a small glass vial in front of him. Found it in the forest. The woodsman said it's a rare ether flower, valuable to alchemists. A pause. You helped me with advice before the contract. This is a thank you. Zane looked at the vial. A gift. In his past life, he was rarely given anything. The neighbor's cat sometimes brought a dead mouse. That counted. Colleagues for his birthday would pool together for a faceless gift certificate. You don't need to, he said. I already gave it, said Kira. The ears turned. A stubborn gesture. Don't return it. It's awkward. The logic is unshakable. Thank you, said Zane. She nodded with satisfaction. The tale rose. She ordered food and settled in opposite him again. Like last time, with the air that this table was now partly hers. Zane looked at the vial in his hand. A rare ether flower. Valuable. She gave me the most valuable thing she found on her first contract. Why? Kira? He said. Why specifically me? She looked at him with that feline gaze that was hard to read. Because you're the first person who helped me for no reason, she said. Just like that. A pause. Usually people help when they need something. Maybe I needed something too, said Zane. No, said Kira. With certainty. You're not like that. How does she know, he thought. Can Phelan detect lies, he asked. A little. She tilted her head slightly. The smell changes, so she knows I was telling the truth. And something more. That the motivation was clean. A sharp sense. A capability and a threat at the same time. He put the vial in his pocket. I'll be careful, he decided. With her, scent mask always. But she already senses something unusual despite the mask. That's a problem that needs to be solved. Later, Veldar had accepted him. Not with warmth and not with open arms. It simply accepted him, the way a big city accepts one of thousands. A name on the guild board, a C-rank token, a room at the inn, contracts closed on time, a group of 4. Now sometimes 5 when Kira took a joint contract. 5 people who don't know what I am, thought Zane. 5 people who are getting used to Zane. No surname, silver streaks, golden eyes. He sat by the window of his room at the Blue Horseshoe. Night, the city quiet, stars above the rooftops. The system showed EP cumulative, 5,100. To the 4th evolution, 8,000. Next threshold, Serpentis humanoid. Higher stage. Humanization index 70%. Ether. Imitation permanent, no timer. Close, he thought. Already close. The vial with the ether flower stood on the table. Small with a bluish light inside. Alive. Why specifically me? He kept returning to it again and again. Didn't understand. Need to understand. For the first time in all this time, something needs to be understood, not about monsters, not about magic, not about the system, about people. That's harder. Outside the window, Veldar breathed in the night. Thousands of lives all around, each its own. Bank worker Lee Junho had never been part of any of them. Serpentis Zane was learning.